most people nowadays would, at least in theory, never consider buying a flagship device, with so many companies offering cheaper yet also powerful alternatives from the likes of Xiaomi, ZTE, and OnePlus. Many of these companies offer products that are often very lower priced than their competitors, namely the ones that have Korean words or bitten fruit stamped onto their exteriors. So with these in mind, should you still buy a flagship device? Well, the sad truth is that many consumers don't know about these, or just simply don't trust them because they're not the same phone that they've always gotten. So, is it still worth it to honestly step down to a device that was once high end? Or are devices becoming obsolete so much that you can't really worry about it at all and you should just step back to a flip phone? Well, I wanted to ask that question myself when I picked up a Galaxy Note 5, and I will answer this question for you after owning this phone for about 5 months. So kick back, relax, grab a drink, do whatever. This is going to be a long one. Welcome to my first truly comprehensive review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. So many pieces all back together now. What's your vision? In my quest to purchase a Galaxy Note 5 in early 2017, I came to the realization that Big Red gave me one option, a 32GB black Sapphire Note 5. I ultimately chose this unit over the younger brothers for my money, the S7, Google Pixel, and Moto Z. And I'm going to be honest, despite those phones being much newer than the Note 5, I have no regrets with my purchase. The question of who is this for emerges the moment anyone sees the Note 5 for the first time when compared to its older siblings, especially the Note diehards who have been around since at least the Note 3 or 2. However, this comes to no surprise to anyone who recently bought a flagship Samsung device. This newer generation Note ditches the faux leather and slight chamfers of the Note 3 and 4, replacing those elements with a pure 7000 series aluminum rail around the side, or as I like to call, the full metal jacket. As well as the new back covered in Gorilla Glass 4, which feels and looks very expensive, and gets dirty very easily and is a pain to clean unless you have a microfiber cloth. And the advantage to this is that there is no removable battery of any kind. There is also no SD card slot, which means whether you go 32 or 64 gigabytes, that's all the physical storage you will get. No 128 gig version. Although, through the help of a little OTG dongle, you can easily swap out a thumb drive or even an external SD card reader. Is this a trade-off in my opinion? I mean, I would like to have an SD card reader, and it was one of those things where I got kind of picky about, but I'm going to be honest, thanks to that, it's forced me to pretty much rely on Google Photos, which thankfully has also meant that every single thing I have is backed up, unlike those files that were stuck on my old Note 3 when it died that I was never able to recover. So, yay for, keeping my data around. But anyways, it's slippery, shiny, and overall very premium. But for the love of God, protect it, please. This phone's expensive, and the moment you drop it, all those good looks are potentially gone. So cover it up somehow. A skin, a case, anything. Literally anything. Well, this is a phone. Some people forget that this is a phone. So next, we'll check out call and data quality. Now, call and data quality on the Verizon network is great, and in my area, I always have signal, so the radios seem very good as well. I don't have to worry about roaming swallowing up 2/3 of my battery life. Never dropped a call or lost signal, and the earpiece sounds really good too. Doesn't have much competition in my opinion, but hey, it works, it's clear, and it's fine. Though I would have preferred the earpiece to bulge out more like on the S7, so it's not inlaid by my screen protector. Looking at I/O, the Galaxy Note 5 features a micro USB port with many great features, including fast charging. I was an advocate against fast charging for a while, but with the stock brick the phone runs even cooler than with most third-party chargers, so that's definitely a win. We also have not only wireless charging, but wireless fast charging, which essentially means that you can charge fast wirelessly and charging the phone a lot faster than if you were using a regular power brick. So that's also a great feature. Next to it, we also have the 3.5mm headphone jack, and of course, the new S Pen. The lack of USB Type-C doesn't really bother me as much as many of the other features that we missed out with on the Note 7. No iris, no water resistance, and no edge. However, the iris was debatably gimmicky, and we now know it's easy to fool on the S8. Screen protectors pretty much suck on curved phones, and water resistance won't really help it in a real situation where water damage is actually likely to occur, like if your father body slams you into the pool. Not speaking from experience. And it has a fingerprint sensor in the now superior location when compared to the Galaxy S8, and the S7 doesn't really improve on the fingerprint sensor much when compared to the S6 and the Note 5. But the Note 8 might be addressing this problem altogether, although we could debate on whether that's actually good for security or not, especially with the new leak about the iris scanner. However, now the Note 5 has the same software, so let's take a look at it. Okay, not the same software, but we do have TouchWiz with their new Grace UX on top of Android 7.0 Nougat. It's fast, feature-rich, and the multitasking is so much better. Word is supported now, finally! But on a serious note, if you missed the Note 7, a Note 5 with this software is pretty much the closest you're gonna get if you still need to have that S Pen. Next, we'll cover battery life. The S6 was notorious for bad battery life, and the Note 7, yeah. However, the 3000 mAh battery in the Note 5, even on the latest software, gets me a little over 5 hours of screen on time, so you'll be fine. And this does have the best battery life of any Galaxy Note. Now, yes, that also does include the Note 7, and considering that the battery doesn't explode, I would say that's a pretty good deal. However, some of the battery life could be due to the efficiency of the chipset. What am I talking about? Well, find out in this next audio clip. The Note 5, similar to the S6 variants, have Samsung's in-house Exynos 7420 2.3 GHz CPU with the Mali T760 GPU. My unit is a 32GB Black Sapphire Edition from Verizon, as previously mentioned, and the performance is top-notch. This phone still easily handles anything that you throw at its awe-inspiring and very bright Quad HD AMOLED panel. That's 1440 by 2560, and you can turn it down to half that if you want to save some battery life. Though I greatly prefer capacitive and physical buttons as opposed to on-screen, as I like the feel of them and accidental presses are rarely a problem for me. I did disable the lights as they drove me crazy after a while, especially at night, but once you disable them, it's all good, at least in my opinion. The power and separated volume buttons are also metal and extremely clicky and satisfying, even through a rugged case. Nothing drives me up the wall more than when the volume buttons are mushy and clamped together like on the Note 4 and the S8. Many of you guys are hearing this review now and are thinking it sounds like an advertisement. It sounds like I'm being paid to say that the Note 5 is a great phone and you should just buy it right now. The truth is, no. These reviews are designed for people who are about to spend however much money on a phone, and they want to know everything that there is to know, especially from personal experience. Not one of these big corporations, not one of these big tech companies where they use the phone for a couple hours and then write like a 20-minute review saying, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that you probably don't care about. How's the device to actually use? We don't care, we just know they're in our pocket. That is not my goal. I've used this device for over 5 months. If there was something to complain about, it would have shown up by now, and there definitely is. Let's start off. Compared to the Note 3, there are many things that feel like upgrades and that feel like downgrades. The new USB port doesn't have 3.0, so it doesn't have the more rigid connector, and you have to use the stock brick to get any form of fast charging, and you do not have the luxury of the faster data speeds. We also have the fact that the new glass back looks really nice, but it does get fingerprinted very easily, and if you drop it on the back, then you're pretty much screwed and you're going to have a cracked phone. Whereas previously, you dropped it on the back, no problem. It might get a scratch or two on it, and you just keep on chugging. And if that scratch just happens to bother you too much, pop a new cover on for a few bucks. Same thing with the battery. Your battery dies, pop in a new battery. Nope, you can't do that in the Note 5. Is that a big deal now? No. Did I ever even actually need to replace the battery in my Note 3? No, but it's still something that was there. It's still a feature that was there that is no longer there, especially in the wake of the Note 7. Had this same battery problem with the Note 7 happened to the Note 4, they could have just given you a new battery. However, the Note 5 doesn't explode, so that's nice. However, when it inevitably does need to have the battery replaced, you're going to have to do a little bit of nudging to get that back off there. But on the back, we also have Verizon's logo. Now, the S8 has fixed this problem, okay? They no longer put carrier branding on the phones, just Samsung's branding. And while it does make it easier for the average consumer to essentially be like, okay, what carrier is this on? They look on the back and it says, oh, it's Verizon or AT&T. But T-Mobile and Sprint haven't had to do this for a few years, and they've been perfectly fine. So I legitimately don't understand why this is still something that certain phone manufacturers still think is necessary. Same thing with their phones being locked. Like, just have the phones be unlocked, no bull crap on them. If you have a carrier that's selling the phone for a much lower price, then I can understand that. But you're selling it for the exact same price, and in some cases even a couple dollars more than the initial retail price. And you're going to load all of your crap on the phone. You're going to put your tramp stamp on the back of the back, which now you can't replace. You can't just pop a regular Note 3 or S3 back on it. And you also can't get rid of many of the carrier bloat apps. Like, I still have Verizon's voicemail app on my phone. I was thankfully able to disable everything else, including NFL. Because if I buy an $800 phone, I totally care about the NFL. Now, let's go back to the back just one last time, okay? It looks beautiful, and it is a very nice design. But like I said, it's something you're going to need to protect. However, there is one part of this back that I find extremely great, and that is the heart rate sensor. A lot of people find it gimmicky, but I found it legitimately useful. This Samsung Health app that goes along with the heart rate sensor has legitimately gotten me off my ass several times. And not several times like since I got the phone, I mean daily. It has gotten me off my ass and helped me place said ass onto my bike seat and ride all around town for the equivalent of 5,000 to 7,000 miles. And that's 5,000 to 7,000, not 5 to 7,000. Also, this is hopefully would be something that you would find useful. But will it be? Not for everyone. But this has pretty much changed my life. And I need to give a shout out to Samsung for the fact that they essentially gave me a device that will help me live longer. My goal is to walk 5,000 steps every single day. And as I walk more and more, I raise that goal to 6,000 or 6,500. You know? It's just something that is legitimately a good feature. Things are only gimmicks if you don't use them. And people can make the argument for the iris scanner, how that wasn't useful, or make an argument for things like, I don't know, the removable battery. People could even say like, oh, I never used that. I like the phone being prettier. It all depends on who you ask. So if you find these features useful, then this will definitely affect your decision when it comes to this phone. If you don't find them useful, or there's even stuff you straight up dislike, then it will affect your decision on whether or not you should get this phone. However, for the record, the Note 3 is still my favorite phone, partly because of nostalgia, but also because there was many of the power user features that the Note 5 doesn't have. And I will be picking up a Note 3 at some point for those times when I'm on like a long car trip or plane ride or somewhere where I want to have a lot of locally stored content. Another problem is that there's also no IR blaster, which, come on, really? This device is how much when it was new? And it was how much more than the Galaxy S6, which had an IR blaster? Why, Samsung? This was just a stupid move. And there are no newer Galaxies that have an IR blaster. The S8, the Note7, the S7, none of these devices have an IR blaster. And also, none of these devices have a secondary speaker in the earpiece. It's already there. Come on, Samsung. Please use it. Now let's talk audio. No AKG earbuds in the box, like the S8. But as a mild audiophile, the output of the headphone jack is pretty good. I mean, if you use earbuds that sound like crap, you will get crap. It goes without saying. Speaking of crap, we have the speaker. Better than the Note 4, but still a phone speaker. The Bluetooth on this device is there, so please use it. Here's a sample. Next, we'll talk about the camera. Now, even though the camera is still a couple years old at this point, it's still great. It has OIS, 16 megapixels, 4K, Quad HD, 60 FPS 1080p, which is what you're seeing right now. The front camera is also really good too. I use this camera every day for the rest of my videos, so if you like that quality, you're good. It has some cool filters and broadcasting features, but I rarely use them. I'm mostly just a point-and-shoot person. Even though I am into mild photography, I still like the output of the camera just by itself. It has a lot of, like little features and, like things you can add to your pictures to make them kind of stand out more. But for the most part, I just snap a picture. Even in low light, the camera still does really well, although this is an area where the S8 does make the camera experience a lot better, which is in low light shots. There's also the fact that even if you have like your preview, which sometimes the image might not be looking best through the preview, but even so, just go ahead and take the picture anyway. I've done this before, and its post-processing will pretty much make up for it and still make a very good quality image. Finally, we have the true calling card of the Note series, the real Wacom digitizer, aka the Sword, aka the S Pen. Screen off memo is single-handedly the greatest feature of the Note 5 and any phone ever. Look in my S Note if you don't believe me. Being able to instantly highlight, write, and scribble on anything is insanely convenient. These features alone are what would have you consider the Note 5 in 2017. You can even use Smart Select to create a GIF, which I use all the time. Just don't put the pen in backwards. My unit has a protective buffer to allow the S Pen to not get stuck, but I wouldn't try it or trust it. Just don't hand people your sub $800 phone, especially if they're a person who you know is a bit lacking in the intelligence and common sense category. I'm a pretty good example of this, and I still have yet to put the pen in backwards on accident. So that's basically it. My experience with the Note 5 is my main daily driver, meaning my only phone, for almost 5 months. The Note 5 can be had for a pretty good deal nowadays, and accessories are even cheaper. I managed to get a case that normally sold for $50, the SC flip cover, brand new for less than $15, and I got a UAG case that retails for $40, again for $15, both brand new. So it pretty much proves that a good deal can be had if you search around, and that's not necessarily always a bad thing to not have the latest phone that's out and available from whatever company it is that you're talking about. Stuff will always be cheaper, and, it still works. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, heck, you could still be using a Galaxy S3 and still get by just fine, even to this day. So the Note 5 should definitely last me well into 2020, and I plan to make it last that long because, well, I don't see any reason to get anything else. Yes, the Note 8 and all these other phones are going to have some great features, but if a phone you have does everything you want it to do, then chances are you shouldn't really need to upgrade. And even though I had to buy an older generation phone, I still feel perfectly happy with the Note 5. Hopefully Samsung will get... Stupid Windows. Hopefully Samsung will give the Note 5 a little bit more support, especially considering what happened with the Note 7. However, the Note 8 is around the corner, and we don't know what it can entail, Although, to be honest, from what I've seen, I still don't have any regrets about picking up the Note 5. So, anyway guys, this is that GTA Fan 720 signing out. If you have any questions about my experience with the Note 5, drop them in the comments below. If there's anything I missed that you guys want to know, just ask me. I probably didn't hit anything in it, well, I probably hit a lot of things in this review, but I guarantee you that there's something I must have missed. So if you have any one of those questions, if you have a Note 5, drop any of those things in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video, and I hope you all have a good one.